Hello and welcome to today's video where I'm going to teach you how to win this position. It is the Lucena position. White king is cut off by the rook and the king on the 8th rank, and the white pawn is on the 7th rank. It is a winning endgame, but it might be tricky if you don't know the technique. First of all, you cannot just play rook e7. Of course it is a tempting move, but black will just repeat these moves. And white king is unable to leave because the rook and the king. So we have to cut the black king with the move rook f2. And now black have two options. Either he'll go to king g7, g6 or g8, doesn't matter, or he will stick to this pawn with e6. And now of course you can see this is a very easy to win because just king e8 and you are making a queen. It's a totally winning endgame. If king g7, you have to use the maneuver called building a bridge via rook f4. This might be a weird move, but let me explain. If you'll go with other variations, for example, king e8, black will just play a check and do nothing. So king e8 is out of the question. If you go king e7, however, you might be able to hide from checks, but you are not able to protect this pawn. If rook g2, check, you are just back to the previous position. Therefore, you have to remember this rook f4 move. Why it is called building the bridge? Let me demonstrate you. Here black have several options, but it all leads to the same, either rook e1 or rook c2. Let's just go with rook c2. So we go king e7. Here black wants to check us, king e2, king d6, king d2, and you might say, wait, we have just have this position previously with here. But there is a big difference. Let me demonstrate. Rook e2, king d6, rook d2, king e6, rook e2, king d5, rook d2, and here rook d4, blocking the checks and forcing black into a totally lost pawn endgame because they have to exchange, and of course you're making a queen. I'm sure you know how to win this one. So essentially this is how you win this position, the Lucena position. First you cut off the king, then you're starting to build a bridge via rook f4, and then remember this king maneuver, not king e5 because you are losing the pawn, but king e6, king d5 and blocking the rook. You might say, yes, but how I'm going to encounter this position? It's not a typical position for me. I'm here to demonstrate an example from Anish Giri and Nihal Sarin game. I believe it was a rapid game from Chess.com championship a few years ago. So let me go to this. Yeah. Here Anish Giri blunder with the move king g6. It is not important, but white have a clear way to gain activity via rook h6. King have to step back. Now rook f6, king e8, and king goes to g4. Anish Giri wanted to cut the king from h-file because he didn't want this king to land on g6, and now Nihal Sarin plays a beautiful move, pawn f5. Here Anish Giri resigned because, as you can see, after takes, rook g1, king g6, king e8, rook f5, protecting this pawn, rook h1, king g7, rook g1, g6, rook g2, h7, rook h2 check, king g8, rook g2, g7, rook g3. And here we are in the Lucena position. A quick reminder how to win is rook e5 check, cutting the king, going to the 4th file, and now building this bridge. So I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, subscribe and comment. I will be doing more of this endgame stuff, and the next video I hope I will record about the fielder position, which is a defensive stand for the black side. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.